Hello everybody, in this cinematography breakdown I will show you this Bose commercial and I will present you different lighting techniques and camera tricks that you can use in the next production. So this is the first image we're looking at, and as you can see we start with a really dark and moody scenery. Our actor itself doesn't have much key light on then. And this is one thing I will point out always: you don't always have to light your main character fully to give him this nice key light, nice backlight, nice fill light. No, most of the times you have to think about is what is the emotion of the scene, and also what is the realistic way where the scene works, or how should the scene really look like. Because as a cinematographer, we walk into a room and then we check, okay, where are the light sources in that image? And we can see we have this lamp here, we have this window and this window. Naturally, we all would think these are the locations where the light is coming from. And now we position, build and block our sets all around these practicals and windows. Because now we don't have to think about lighting, because the lighting is already there. We just now have to enhance the lighting. So what have they done here? Sceneries like this get really dark by themselves, so there's not enough ambience, because you can already see here in the background is wood, so there's a fence where it's blocking light, and from this direction is pretty similar, so this room already feels pretty dark. Now what you will do normally, you put a light of your choice that is strong enough. The most common LED light nowadays would be an Evoke 2400 or the equivalent of an Aputure storm light, because this gives you an equivalent of a M40, around this, a little bit less. It depends on the mount you put on there, and then you just blast into the scene so that you get a little bit of texture into the room. The key from outdoor lighting is always to give some kind of key light for the actor or give some texture for the background. The first thing I will do in the scenery is we don't put the actor in there. We just place the camera, set our exposure on the light level we want, and then we add light. Because now I want a nice light shaft around here, and then maybe I want to backlight from here or just illuminate the sheets a little bit so that it's just not pitch black in the background. This light gives the whole scenery an edged light and a bit of texture. So you always want, in this Moody kind of situation, long shadows. For long shadows, the light source needs to be very low, very harsh, and with a little bit not much fill light. And this creates this nice highlight spot on the floor and also on this wall. And when you're lighting indoors, the floor, the walls are much more important to light than your actor itself, because this is what makes the image pop and make it more high quality, because you think for the surroundings first, make them beautiful, and then you put your actor in there. Now you don't have to light the actor at all in this situation, because this light from here is probably enough, or this backlight from here, which also, as you can see, maybe goes in this direction, because it's very sus that this towel has so much light, so the light has to come from here, but also one from here, because the pot in the background gets also illuminated. To create an image like this will scare a lot of people, because people are scared of shadows. They like shadows, they like the mood of it, but when they have to do it themselves, sometimes they're scared. They think, oh, that's too dark, we have to see the product, we have to see the actor, where are the emotions. It's not always necessary, just go for the look. When it supports the mood, it's great. And sometimes it's just an eye-catcher. Now we have an outdoor location, and as you can see, the light is coming from here. An outdoor situation like this, when you have a lot of people and not a lot of budget, you have to work with the sun. So always try to manage the composition and the blocking of the people to where the sun is moving. Most of the time you want to go for a side light when the sun is very low, or for a backlight, because that's much easier to control, because you can bounce it for also a lot of people. When you have front light, you have to remove the sun and then add the sun with all your lights. And that's most of the time impossible to do, because you then need this big Hollywood set with a lot of cranes and 3000 lights with RM90s or bigger and shoot across the whole scene. But that's not very realistic for most of the time, so try to work with the sun. Also, but what you can do is haze. A lot of people haze a lot in dark, moody situation, but forget that haze is a very powerful tool, or smoke, outdoors, because it gives you this nice glow in the background, which separates our character and removes the contrast on the background. Because the contrast gets removed and the smoke is only behind our actor, the actor is popping a lot more because the contrast on her is still there. This is a close-up from the scene, and as you can see, the light is clearly coming from here, and we just have this really hard and nice backlight. But what you also can see, we have here a little bit of warm tint, and it's possible sometimes you use something like a dino light, which are these lights that you see a lot often in behind the scenes, which are 99% of the time a warm temperature. You put them up and try to give the scene a little bit warmer glow all around as an edge light. But in this situation, I think that's just the taxi, because he was standing next to a taxi, the light is bouncing on a taxi and goes back up to her face, and that's where we get this yellowish warm colors, which gives the whole scenery a little bit of balance and an orange teal look. Here also, this is not the most beauty light, commercial clean light you would see, but it's interesting to look at, and it feels very natural because we have this hard sunlight. The sun is sometimes really strong. You have to always think about what is the emotion, how should the day feel in the scenario. When everything looks similar and clean and perfect, this is not an emotion, this is an ad. But sometimes to improve our ad, we want to create emotion. And that's the reason why we have this hard sunlight hitting her. She's looking confused in the other direction, and everything just comes nice together in the shot. This is a weird trend, but you need weirdness in a commercial, because what is the goal of a commercial? To attract people, to make other people notice your brand or your product. And that's the reason why you have this sometimes weird, surreal scenes in ads like this, where in the earlier days were pretty normal, just a girl walking around with her Bose headset, vibing to something, that's enough. But we already seen that, done that, so we change this up a little bit with this abstract, whatever this is. I don't need to explain to you how to do this. This is clearly a guy which is able to walk on these big long sticks. And what I often thought about it, but never done, is when you have a special talent like this, where the move is the cool thing, but you don't have a model. The person that does this is most of the time not a model, so he can't act or do something you want in front of the camera, so just put a mask on them. So with the mask, it gets more abstract, it becomes more just the concept of the thing, and you have a lot less headache, because now you are in the edit and think, damn, I can't use the shot because he's looking weird here, he looks into the camera, put a mask on him, and all problems are solved. Also, typical wide angle lens look, where you use 14 or 12 millimeter on a Lexa LF on open gate mode, so that you get this square aspect ratio. A modern look, where you see a lot, but I think this will be cool for the next year, and then there's another thing. Always you have to look for trends. Trends are normal, but in the film industry, we already done so much. So to get a new look, new spark, we need something revolutionary. So we have already done now this large sensor with wide angle lens, what wasn't possible a few years ago. So we have to wait for the next thing to get something more special. And guys, very important, don't forget your macro shots. Everything is so excited for these wide angle shots and movements, gimbal, time ramps, but get your time to get your B-roll straight, where you get the emotion, because macro shot is always something unique, where you have to wait for a moment when you see it and appreciate the whole detail, like this tiny hairs on a person, the reflection of the skyline in her eyes. It's just such a nice way to enhance the feeling of something intense is happening. The moment is for the character intense, so don't forget these kinds of shots. Something that's also a really hard trend that starts to stop is these train situations. A lot of these high budget commercials have these fake train scenes where someone is standing here and they build this huge light setup outdoors where the lights on an animation and it looks like the train is moving. It's a cool way to do something more special and with a little bit of movement. Movement's always good, but we see this scenario so much. I wouldn't recommend doing right now, otherwise there's a reason for it. I mean, for headsets, it's a really logical location, because where's normally where people headsets when they're walking outside, doing sports or driving in a train. But it's so expensive to do. You need the train that is in a studio or on a big hall where you have the space. Then you need a big lighting crew. We have to prepare the lighting setup, because you need most of the time different animations for different scenarios. Then for the interior, when you go for close-up, you also have to do a little bit of lighting. So it's just for that you are in this train-like situation, not so much wow as everyone thinks. So if you enjoyed this video, I really would appreciate a subscription from you. Here is daily upload. My name is Balko Panuli, and see you next time.